Hello! Today I'm here in the winter wonderland of the Morton Arboretum, and I have just my 24mm lens. I'm inspired by Becki and Chris. They just put out the focal length challenge where they're trying to just use one lens on a shoot, and that's what I want to do today. Capture as much as I can with this, have it not be technical and just be me sharing what I do. Let's get it. I pretty much just shoot landscapes with this lens, although it can do a lot more than that. But for photography, there's two ways I tend to do it. I either have everything in focus, or I go all the way down to f1.4 because this lens allows that, and I'll blur either a foreground element, or I'll even blur the background if there's something cool like a rock or something in the foreground. The closer you get with this lens, the more out of focus the background gets. That's just inherently the case for all lenses, but it's especially emphasized on a lens like this, especially if it goes to f1.4, because then it just really blurs the background. Like, look at all these photos. As I get closer and closer, you can see it just keeps getting blurrier and blurrier. So that's something that I tend to do a lot, actually. I enjoy photographing things with a lens at its minimum focus distance, because that just means that you're getting the blurriest of background you could. To get to your minimum focus distance, you're just going to throw your focus ring all the way to one side. Some lenses have a little dial on top that makes it easier to see this, but that's not necessary. Just know that your ring will keep spinning, but you'll be at your minimum focus distance. The final thing I would note that you can do is don't forget to take panorama shots with your lens. So if you're ever thinking it's not wide enough, say for photographing this awesome lake, then you can still just take your camera, shoot a bunch of shots, and combine them in post, like with Lightroom, Photoshop, whatever you use. And there you have it. I was here earlier in January with Dan Gribb, and it was super foggy, and I ended up getting this same shot, but in totally different weather conditions, but still with my 24mm lens. It just does a fantastic job. The image is so good, I think I'm gonna end up getting it printed and put it on my wall. I've had a lot of fun shooting on just this 24mm lens. It can be a challenge though. Here are some of the last few photos I took. It does force you to think more creatively because you can't zoom in. Then you have to use your feet to zoom or change up your composition that way. So I kind of like that. I did take a couple portraits with this lens. It's not my favorite lens for that due to the distortion that it can cause, 24mm, especially on full frame. But it can lend itself to a couple fun photos depending on how you hold the camera or what angle you shoot at. But yeah, this was super fun to do the focal length challenge at 24mm. Again, shout out to Becki and Chris. I'll throw their video up in the card here. Super fun video. Love everything that they do. And I would highly recommend to yourself to try doing a focal length challenge. Whether you have a 24mm or whatever lens you have, just take one lens, one focal length, and just see what you can come up with. Certainly forces you to be way more creative. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're interested, and I'll see you soon with another new video.